Hello everybody, this is JT Productions and welcome back to another preview and prediction video. Today I'll be doing a preview and prediction video on the Central Michigan Chippewas. Last season Central Michigan went 9-4, 6-2 in the MAC with 5 straight wins to end the season, including a win over Washington State in the Sun Bowl. So over the last couple of years since head coach Jim McElwain got there, they've steadily been getting better in the playing in the MAC. Honestly, they've become a better team. The only games they lost last year were against Missouri, LSU, both in the SEC. They lost to Miami, Ohio by 2 possessions. They lost to Northern Illinois by 1, who I believe eventually won the MAC. So they're on the road to becoming a pretty good team. Now, how are they going to do this year? Well, like I said, Jim McElwain, this will be his 4th season at Central Michigan. At quarterback, they have a redshirt sophomore, Daniel Richardson. Running back, you have redshirt sophomore Lou Nichols. At wide receiver, you have Alec Ward, a sophomore, and redshirt senior Dallas Dixon. On the offensive line, projected starters are redshirt freshman, a redshirt junior, redshirt senior, redshirt sophomore, and a junior. So, a mixed bag of veterans on the offensive line, but from how they did last year, you would think that they would be able to keep the momentum going. They lost, wasn't it Bernard Ryman that got drafted? Who didn't he go to Bernard Ryman? Let's see. Didn't he? Yes, Bernard Ryman. That's a big piece that you lost last season. He was probably one of the best offensive linemen in the MAC. So that's going to be hard to replace. We'll see if somebody like Davis Hensman or Deontay Powell-Woods are able to replace his production. On the defensive side, you have Fred Stokes, a redshirt sophomore, and Thomas Income, a senior, on the defensive ends, and Jaquez Bristol, Jr., and Roby Stewart, redshirt senior, on the inside of the defensive line. Linebackers, you have sophomore Kyle Moretti and redshirt sophomore Justin Whiteside. In the secondary, you have Rolian Sturkey, senior, Dante Kent, sophomore corner, and at safeties, you have Trey Jones, redshirt sophomore, and Caleb Spann, redshirt freshman. From what I see, you don't have any transfers who came in this offseason so far. That could change. I don't know how updated that projected depth chart is, so who knows? You could already have some. Anyways, let's see how I think you're going to do this year. Well, week 1, you start out with a pretty difficult opponent. You have to go on the road to Stillwater to play Oklahoma State. Now, I do believe that you could give Oklahoma State a run for their money. Oklahoma State, we've seen in the past, 2020, I believe, they almost lost to Tulsa at home. And I think last year they almost lost to a Group of 5 team as well. Don't remember if that's true or not. However, I can check. Let me go ahead and check that. Last year, yes, they almost lost to Tulsa as well last year, and Missouri State, and Boise State. So I could see y'all making that a pretty difficult game for Oklahoma State. But I do think Oklahoma State will come out with the win. Week 2, you play South Alabama. South Alabama, I think it's going to be one of the lower tier teams in the Sun Belt this year, and I believe you're going to be better than them. So I think you start out with a win and a loss. Lost to Oklahoma State, a win against South Alabama. Then you play something called Bucknell. You should get a win there. And going into your last game of September, you're 2-1. The last game of September, you go on the road to Penn State to take on Nittany Lions. I don't think you're going to be able to win this game. Penn State, yeah, has got too much talent. They should be better than they were last year. Sean Clifford's back, so I think he'll drop this one on the road in Beaver Stadium. Then you have to go back-to-back on the road. You have to go to Toledo to the Glass Bowl to take on the Rockets. This is going to be another difficult game coming off a loss to Penn State. Toledo, they're a very tough team, and it's start of conference play. You're going to have a freshman on the offensive line, a redshirt freshman on the offensive line that's trying to make up for the talent that you had with Bernard Raymond. I think that's going to take effect in this game. I think Toledo picks you off, and you drop to 2-3 on the year before coming back home for your homecoming game against Ball State. Ball State is another team that, in my opinion, even though I'll admit it right now, with conferences like the MAC, Conference USA, and stuff like that, with the obscure teams like Ball State, I'm not fully in the know of don't really have a feeling of how good they'll be. I kind of have a feeling, but I don't really have a full understanding of how good they're going to be. I have a feeling Ball State's going to be around middle of the pack or above average, but I think you're going to be better than them. I think that Central Michigan's going to be fighting for a spot in the MAC championship. They have the potential to, at least. I do think you get the win here. Also a win the next week at Akron. And then a win the next week at home against Bowling Green to go into your bye week 5-3. Yeah, 5-3. So a good turnaround for you. You come out of your bye week to go on the road to Northern Illinois. Northern Illinois is going to be one of the best teams in the MAC this year. They still have Rocky Lombardi, who's a great quarterback, probably going to be one of the best in the MAC. And I think you drop this game in a close one. It's going to be just firepower on firepower for this game in DeKalb, Illinois. I think you come up short, and Northern Illinois picks you off again. So you're 5-4. Then you play Buffalo. Buffalo is going to be... You'll see later when I do my video on the Buffalo Bulls, but they're kind of at this point in the season, going to be a sneaky team. And I think after that gut-wrenching loss to Northern Illinois, they're going to do something that a lot of big teams do, and that's beat a team twice. I think you lose against Northern Illinois, and that carries over with your confidence to the next week, and you lose to Buffalo. So you're 5-5 with your last two games of the season against Western Michigan and then at Eastern Michigan. This little rivalry is kind of like the service academies, to where you have three teams interconnected into the rivalry, to where it's more of who wins the series gets the trophy. Western Michigan's going to be a difficult game for you. Last season against Western Michigan, you beat them by 12. So I could see this being a closer game this year, but I'm going to give you the win. You have them at home, so I'm going to give you the edge in this game, and you get the 6 wins going into your final game of the year at Eastern Michigan, taking on the Eagles. I could see this being a closer game than it was last year. Last year you beat them 31-10, but I do think you have enough firepower to take on Eastern Michigan. So I think you get the win on the road in, I don't even know how you say that. I'm just going to say Rynearson Stadium to finish the season 7-5. A little bit of a disappointment from last year, losing to 3 MAC teams this year instead of 2. You also had still 2 games in the non-con that are very difficult. So anyways, there you have it. I have Central Michigan Chippewas going 7-5 with 3 losses in the MAC and a shot maybe at the MAC championship. So thank you all so much for watching. I hope y'all enjoyed. Have a great day, and Go Dogs.